Imagine if one of the most important influences on how you age was not hidden in a futuristic laboratory, locked inside an expensive supplement, or reserved for people with perfect genetics. Imagine if part of the answer was sitting on your plate. For decades, aging was often described as a slow and unavoidable decline. Cells accumulate damage, energy production becomes less efficient, inflammation can rise, blood vessels stiffen, muscles weaken, memory may become less sharp, and over time, the risk of chronic disease increases. But scientists have learned something remarkable. Your body is not simply a passive machine that breaks down with age. Every day, it is actively monitoring damage, responding to stress, repairing cellular structures, and adapting to the environment around it. And one of the most powerful environments your body experiences is food. Not because food can magically stop aging, not because any single ingredient can make you younger overnight, but because the molecules in food may influence some of the biological systems connected to healthy aging, including inflammation, metabolism, blood vessel function, oxidative stress, and even the cellular pathways involved in maintaining DNA. And this is where the story becomes much more interesting. The phrase repair DNA sounds dramatic. It brings to mind a kind of biological reset button. But the truth is both more subtle and more powerful. Your body already has DNA repair systems. They work constantly, scanning for errors and helping maintain the genetic instructions that keep your cells functioning. The question researchers are now asking is not whether one food can reverse aging. The question is whether daily dietary patterns can help create conditions that support the body's own maintenance systems over time. And evidence suggests the answer may be yes. The foods you eat do far more than provide calories. They send signals. They influence hormones. They affect the gut microbiome. They shape blood sugar responses. They can either increase or reduce inflammatory pressure. They may influence how efficiently cells produce energy. And some plant compounds appear to activate protective stress response pathways that help cells become more resilient. But before we talk about the foods that may matter most, we need to understand one major misconception. Most people think aging happens because the calendar moves forward. You turn 40, 50, 60, 70, and your body simply follows a fixed schedule. But biological aging is not identical to chronological aging. Two people can be the same age on paper and have very different levels of physical fitness, metabolic health, cognitive function, muscle mass, blood pressure, and disease risk. One person may be able to climb stairs easily, carry groceries, think clearly, sleep well, and remain independent. Another may struggle with fatigue, stiffness, blood sugar problems, and declining mobility. The difference is not always genetics. Genes matter. Access to healthcare matters. Sleep, exercise, stress, smoking, alcohol, social connection, and environment all matter. But food is one of the daily signals that may influence the direction of aging. And one of the most overlooked parts of this story is DNA. DNA is often described as the blueprint of life. It contains instructions that help cells build proteins, regulate functions, and respond to the world around them. But DNA is not sitting safely untouched inside the body. It is constantly exposed to stress. Normal metabolism can produce reactive molecules. Inflammation can increase cellular stress. Ultraviolet radiation can damage skin cell DNA. Tobacco smoke can introduce harmful compounds. Poorly controlled blood sugar may contribute to oxidative stress. Even the ordinary process of living creates wear and tear. That sounds alarming, but there is an important detail most people never hear about. Your body has evolved sophisticated repair systems. Every day, enzymes search for damaged sections of DNA. They remove errors. They repair breaks. They help maintain the integrity of genetic material. This is one reason the body can continue functioning for decades despite constant exposure to internal and external stress. However, these systems are not invincible. As we age, the balance between damage and repair may become less favorable. Chronic inflammation, poor sleep, sedentary behavior, nutrient-poor diets, smoking, excess alcohol, and metabolic dysfunction can all add pressure to the system. And this is where nutrition enters the picture. Certain nutrients are needed for normal cellular maintenance: folate, vitamin B12, vitamin B6, choline, zinc, magnesium, selenium, vitamin C, and protein all play roles in biological processes related to cell function, metabolism, and tissue maintenance. But researchers are also studying something beyond essential nutrients. They are studying bioactive compounds found in plants. These are naturally occurring chemicals in foods such as berries, leafy greens, cruciferous vegetables, beans, herbs, tea, cocoa, nuts, olive oil, and colorful fruits. They are not vitamins in a traditional sense. You do not need to memorize their names to benefit from them. But many appear to interact with pathways linked to inflammation, oxidative stress, blood vessel health, and cellular resilience. One of the most fascinating examples comes from a group of vegetables many people either love or avoid: cruciferous vegetables. Broccoli, cabbage, kale, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, bok choy, and arugula all belong to this family. When these vegetables are chopped, chewed, or digested, they can produce compounds that researchers have studied for their potential effects on the body's protective response systems. One compound that has received significant attention is sulforaphane, especially associated with broccoli sprouts and broccoli. Research suggests sulforaphane may influence a pathway called NRF2. You do not need to remember that name, but the concept matters. NRF2 acts somewhat like a cellular alarm system. When activated, it can encourage the production of antioxidant and detoxification-related enzymes that help cells respond to stress. This does not mean broccoli is a cure for aging. It does not mean eating a bowl of broccoli repairs every damaged cell in your body. But it may mean that regularly eating cruciferous vegetables helps support the body's natural defense systems in ways that are relevant to long-term health. And this is where the story takes an unexpected turn. The healthiest foods may not always work by acting like powerful drugs. Sometimes their value may come from creating a small amount of beneficial stress. This idea is known as hormesis. Exercise is a perfect example. A workout temporarily challenges the body. Heart rate rises, muscles experience strain, energy demand increases, but after recovery, the body adapts. Muscles may become stronger, mitochondria may become more efficient, insulin sensitivity may improve. Some plant compounds may work in a similar way. They do not simply neutralize every stress molecule. Instead, they may send a mild signal that encourages cells to strengthen their own protective systems. In other words, the plant is not doing all the work for you. It may be encouraging your biology to do what it was designed to do. This may help explain why diets rich in diverse plant foods are repeatedly associated with better long-term health outcomes. But there is another food category that deserves attention because it challenges a common assumption about aging: berries. Blueberries, strawberries, blackberries, raspberries, and other deeply colored fruits contain polyphenols, including anthocyanins. These are the pigments that give many berries their red, purple, and blue colors. For years, people heard that berries were high in antioxidants, and the conversation often stopped there. But researchers later discovered something surprising. The potential benefits of berries may not be explained only by direct antioxidant activity. Their compounds may also influence blood vessel function, inflammatory signaling, glucose metabolism, and communication between cells. Some studies suggest that regular berry intake may support aspects of cardiovascular and cognitive health, especially as part of an overall healthy dietary pattern. And that matters because the brain and blood vessels are deeply connected. Your brain depends on a constant supply of oxygen and nutrients. Healthy blood vessels help support that delivery system. When blood vessel function declines, the effects can extend far beyond the heart. This is one reason scientists increasingly view healthy aging as a whole body process. You cannot separate brain health from metabolic health. You cannot separate muscle health from blood sugar regulation. You cannot separate cardiovascular health from cognitive function. And you cannot separate nutrition from the systems that keep all of these areas working together. Yet, one of the biggest mistakes people make is searching for a single anti aging food. They ask whether it is blueberries, olive oil, turmeric, green tea, garlic, mushrooms, tomatoes, or dark chocolate. The truth is that these foods may each offer something valuable, but aging biology does not respond to one isolated ingredient as much as it responds to repeated patterns. A single healthy meal is not a transformation. A single unhealthy meal is not a disaster. What matters is the direction of your pattern across months, years, and decades. Do you regularly eat foods that support stable blood sugar? Do you get enough fiber? Do you eat a variety of plants? Do you include protein to preserve muscle? Do you minimize highly processed foods that make overeating easier? Do you move your body? Do you sleep enough for recovery? These questions may sound simple, but they point towards something profound. Healthy aging is often built from ordinary behaviors repeated with unusual consistency. And the food most strongly associated with longevity may not be a single superfood at all. It may be the combination of plants, protein, healthy fats, fiber, and minimally processed foods that gives the body the raw materials and signals it needs to maintain itself. In the next part, we will look at the specific foods and dietary patterns researchers are studying most closely, why muscle may be one of the strongest predictors of healthy aging, how the gut microbiome may influence inflammation and metabolism, and what a realistic DNA supporting plate could look like in everyday life. Because the goal is not to chase youth forever. The goal is to build a body that remains capable, resilient, and alive to the things that matter most. And that brings us to one of the most important discoveries in modern longevity science. The foods that may support healthy aging do not work alone. They work in conversation with your muscles, your gut, your sleep, your blood vessels, and your metabolism. They become part of a larger biological network. And when that network is supported consistently, the effects may be far more meaningful than any single superfood headline. Take olive oil, for example. For centuries, olive oil has been a staple in Mediterranean-style eating patterns. Today, researchers are studying it not simply as a source of fat, but as a complex food containing monounsaturated fats and naturally occurring polyphenols. Evidence suggests that replacing some saturated fats and highly processed fats with unsaturated fats from foods such as extra virgin olive oil, nuts, seeds, avocado, and fatty fish may support cardiovascular health. And that matters because the health of your arteries may shape how you age in ways people often underestimate. Your blood vessels are not just pipes. They are living tissues. They respond to food, exercise, stress, sleep, and inflammation. They help regulate blood flow to every organ in the body, including the brain. When blood vessels function well, they help deliver oxygen and nutrients efficiently. When they become less flexible or more inflamed over time, the effects can spread throughout the body. But researchers later discovered something surprising. The benefits of olive oil may not come only from its fat profile. Its polyphenols may also influence oxidative stress and inflammatory signaling. This is one reason extra virgin olive oil, which tends to retain more of these natural compounds than highly refined oils, has attracted so much scientific interest. Still, this is not an invitation to pour unlimited oil onto every meal. Healthy foods are not exempt from portion size. Olive oil is energy dense, and overall dietary balance still matters. But using it as part of a pattern rich in vegetables, beans, fish, whole grains, fruit, and nuts may be one practical way to support long-term health. And this is where the story gets even more interesting. The same dietary pattern that may support your heart may also support your brain. For years, brain health was often discussed as if it were mostly separate from the rest of the body. People focused on puzzles, memory games, and supplements. But scientists now understand that the brain is deeply affected by blood sugar, blood pressure, inflammation, physical activity, sleep, and the health of blood vessels. In other words, protecting your brain may begin long before you notice a memory problem. It may begin with the meals you eat in midlife. One food group that keeps appearing in longevity research is legumes. Beans, lentils, chickpeas, peas, and soy foods are nutritional powerhouses. They provide fiber, plant protein, minerals, and slowly digested carbohydrates. They are affordable, widely available, and often overlooked because they do not sound glamorous. But that may be exactly why they are so important. In many regions associated with long life, legumes are a regular part of the diet. They can help make meals more filling, may support steadier blood sugar responses, and provide fiber that feeds beneficial microbes in the gut. And most people never hear about what happens next. When gut microbes ferment certain fibers, they produce compounds called short chain fatty acids. These compounds are being studied for their potential role in gut health, immune regulation, and metabolism. The science is still evolving, but the central idea is clear. The food you eat does not only feed you, it also feeds trillions of microorganisms that live inside your digestive system. That microbiome may influence far more than digestion. Researchers are investigating its connection to inflammation, immune function, metabolic health, and even brain-related signaling. While the field is still young and many claims online go far beyond the evidence, there is strong reason to believe that a diverse, fiber-rich diet supports a healthier gut environment. And diversity may be the key word. Many people eat the same few foods every week. The same breakfast, the same snack, the same side dish, the same processed convenience meals. But a wider range of plant foods means a wider range of fibers and plant compounds. Different microbes thrive on different foods. So one of the simplest ways to improve the quality of your diet may be to increase variety. Not perfection, variety. Try rotating your vegetables. Add beans to soups or salads. Eat different fruits across the week. Experiment with herbs, spices, nuts, seeds, and whole grains. These small changes can create a more diverse nutritional environment without turning your life into a complicated health project. However, that is not the most interesting part. Nutrition may help support the biology of aging, but muscle may determine whether you can actually enjoy the years you gain. Muscle is often treated as something cosmetic, something athletes build, something people think about only when they are young. But muscle is one of the most important organs of healthy aging. It helps regulate blood sugar by taking up glucose from the bloodstream. It supports balance and mobility. It protects against falls. It helps you climb stairs, carry bags, get up from the floor, travel independently, and stay active in the life you want to live. As people age, muscle mass and strength can decline, especially when physical activity and protein intake are low. This loss can affect metabolism, resilience, and independence. And this is where one of the biggest myths about aging needs to be corrected. Growing older does not mean you should stop challenging your body. In fact, research consistently suggests that resistance training can support strength, muscle function, bone health, and physical capability across adulthood. The right approach depends on your fitness level, medical history, and physical limitations, but the principle remains powerful. Muscles respond to use. They adapt to demand. This is why a healthy aging strategy should not focus only on what you remove from your diet. It should also focus on what you build. Build muscle, build balance, build cardiovascular fitness, build meals that contain enough protein. Protein provides amino acids, which the body uses to maintain and repair tissues. As we age, spreading protein across meals may be more useful than eating nearly all of it at dinner. Foods such as fish, eggs, yogurt, poultry, tofu, tempeh, beans, lentils, and other protein-rich foods can help support daily intake. The exact amount that is appropriate varies from person to person. Age, body size, activity level, kidney health, and medical conditions all matter. But the broader lesson is simple. Preserving muscle should be a central part of the longevity conversation. And this is where the idea of DNA supporting foods becomes more realistic. No food can erase every form of cellular damage. No meal can make aging disappear. But a nutrient-dense dietary pattern combined with movement, sleep, and other healthy behaviors may reduce some of the biological pressures that accumulate over time. It may support the systems your body already uses to maintain itself. Think of it like maintaining a home. You cannot prevent every storm. You cannot stop time from passing, but you can repair small problems before they become larger ones. You can protect the foundation. You can maintain the plumbing. You can keep the structure strong. Your body works in a similar way. The goal is not to become invincible. The goal is to remain resilient. So, what might this look like in real life? A practical, healthy aging plate does not need to be complicated. Start with vegetables, especially colorful and cruciferous varieties. Add a source of protein. Include fiber-rich carbohydrates such as beans, lentils, oats, quinoa, or other minimally processed whole grains. Add healthy fats from olive oil, nuts, seeds, avocado, or fish. Finish with fruit, especially berries when available. This kind of meal pattern may support fullness, blood sugar stability, nutrient intake, and long-term cardiovascular health. It is not a rigid diet. It is a framework. And the future of nutrition may become even more personalized. Scientists are increasingly studying how people respond differently to the same foods. One person may have a larger blood sugar response to a certain meal than another. One person may thrive with more plant protein, while another may need a different balance. Genetics, gut microbes, activity level, sleep, medications, and health conditions can all influence these responses. Yet the real discovery came years later. Even as personalized nutrition advances, the foundations remain remarkably consistent. Eat more plants, prioritize fiber, include enough protein, choose minimally processed foods more often, support muscle with resistance training, move your body regularly, sleep enough to recover, avoid smoking, limit excessive alcohol, manage stress where possible, stay connected to other people. These are not flashy ideas, but they are the habits most consistently associated with healthier aging. And perhaps that is the most hopeful part of the science. You do not need to wait for a breakthrough drug, a perfect supplement, or a futuristic anti-aging treatment to begin supporting your health. You can begin with your next meal. You can choose a handful of berries instead of a sugary snack. You can add beans to dinner. You can cook with extra virgin olive oil. You can eat broccoli, kale, cabbage, or arugula more often. You can take a walk after a meal. You can lift weights, use resistance bands, or practice body weight exercises. You can build a routine that gives your body more opportunities to adapt, repair, and stay strong. And none of these choices has to be perfect. The decisions we make today may seem small, but over years and decades, those choices can shape how we age, how we feel, and how long we remain healthy. That is why understanding the science matters. Not because food can reverse time, but because food may help support the extraordinary repair, defense, and resilience systems already working inside you every day.